Going on, Jerome's. We're back. Take a look at another mock draft. CBS, Tom Fornelli did up a mock draft, and the Vikings trade down, but we pass on a quarterback. I don't know. So we'll dive on in. We'll get to that in a hot second. Where I'm in, but God. So number 1, Trevor Lawrence. Number 2, Jets go Justin Fields. Ooh, Broadway Justin Fields. Now, if the 12-year-old boy's younger brother can get it going on offense, sure, I like it. If you can protect him, they have Becton, they have Mims, they have Corey Davis now, so maybe it could work out. We'll see. Number 3, Jalen Waddle. Like, Justin Fields' upside, certainly there. The downside, certainly there. But so is life with all these quarterbacks. Number 3, the first little moment. So the pick that they got from the Texans, Jalen Waddle, first wide receiver off the board. And they did sign Will Fuller, so they got speed for days on the outside. Now they add even more, getting to his former teammate. But Waddle ahead of DeVonta and ahead of Jamar Chase. Baby. But Waddle's talent is certainly undisputed. If he'd stayed healthy last year, I think that he might have been the first wide receiver off the board. Anyway, number 4. So the Falcons don't go quarterback. They got Zach Wilson. They're chilling. They have Trey Lance. They have Mac Jones on board. But they're going to build around Matt Ryan, protect him in his golden years. Penny Sewell no matter what. Now, you're going to kick Jake Matthews or Caleb McGarry inside at guard. You're going to play Penny Sewell at one of the tackle spots. Do it. Number 5. So the Bengals miss out on Penny Sewell, and they could go Rashawn Slater in this spot, but Kyle Pitts is really too tempting. Getting Joe Burrow, that matchup nightmare. Plus, they have Reef on offensive line. They've been in contact with Nick Easton as well as Trey Turner, so maybe they can suture that up in free agency so they don't have to worry about that so high in the draft, but also that doesn't mean that they won't address offensive line later in the draft. But Pitts, man, I really do like Kyle Pitts. 6, the Eagles could go Zach Wilson, but they don't do it. Jamar Chase, they learned their lesson last year. Don't pass up on an LSU wide receiver. So Jamar Chase, Jalen Reagor for Jalen Hurts, and Joe Flacco. Sure. There you go. Next up, first trade up. So 7, the Niners go from 12 to 7, swapping with the Detroit Lions. They come all the way up for Zach Wilson. Now, if I'm the Lions, I just take Zach Wilson. Like, Jared Goff is not going to be the future, but the Niners, this is gross because I think Zach Wilson and his movement skills and his arm talent are going to be perfect in the Kyle Shanahan offense, and I hate it. I really do hate it. You got Trent Williams, man. Jimmy G is not going to be the future. Maybe they hang on to him for one more year to play out the string and ease Zach Wilson in, or maybe they trade him. Maybe they get rid of him after the draft, which is a possibility. But you got Ayuk, you got Debo, you got Kittle, and you got Trent Williams. Let's go. 8. So the Panthers, they pass on quarterback with Trey Lance and Mac Jones out there chilling. But Christian Darrisaw, sneaky underrated pick. So he goes ahead of Slater, which I think could be a possibility. I do have Darrisaw rated ahead of Slater just because he checks the boxes of what you want size-wise. Plus, he's a rogue ray in the run game. He's scheme agnostic. Plus, those arms for days, man. I love the footwork. But pass on the quarterback. Darrisaw replaced Russell Okung, and him and Taylor Moton rode the boat on the franchise tag. Nice bookend tackles for, I don't know, hey, Teddy? Maybe they go quarterback second round? I don't know. Next up, number 9, the Broncos go Rashawn Slater. Now, this is a pure BPA pick because they already have Garrett Bowles rounding into form as one of the best left tackles in the game. They have right tackle Juwan James, who they paid big money to in free agency, but then opted out last year. So, Slater, I guess maybe they kick him inside. I wouldn't. I think that he's a tackle. I don't think he has the anchor to kick inside. I would rather kick James inside, play Slater at that right tackle spot. He does have some experience there early on at Northwestern. But, yeah, I mean, you would think that they would go cornerback here, even though they did sign Kyle Fuller. But, yeah, it's BPA, baby. Get it on. 10, so wow, cornerback 1 off the board is Patrick Surtain. So Caleb Farley, not so much. Maybe they're scared off by that micro dichotomy or whatever the hell that he has. But the Cowboys going Bama at cornerback, as well as they re-signed Jordan Lewis. That's a nice trio with Surtain, Diggs, and Jordan Lewis. Next up, 11. So the Giants got busy in free agency, man. Changes their needs at the top of the draft. So they signed wide receiver Kenny Golladay. They signed their cornerback in Dory Jackson. Now, just getting that physical freak, man. Micah Parsons at linebacker, that is gross. Like, he really could become like a hybrid of Harry Carson and Lawrence Taylor. Like, he does have that physical skill set. And no matter where you play him, off ball, Mike, on the edge, wherever, man, just let him get after it. I love Micah Parsons. Number 12, so Lions trade down from 7 to 12, and they still get DeVonta Smith. Okay. If you're a Lions fan, you're pretty pumped about this. DeVonta adds a much-needed playmaker to the Lions' offensive repertoire. Jared Goff actually has a wide receiver since they got rid of Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay signed elsewhere with the Giants. But DeVonta Smith and Quintez Cephus, nice little duo there. 13. So I'm guessing this is the Chargers because even though it said that they traded, there isn't a mention of another team. So I'm guessing this is the Chargers, and this is just editorial error. But Jalen Phillips coming on in, can play defensive line, can play stand-up outside linebacker, replacing Melvin Ingram. Him and Bosa opposite of each other. I like that. But, you're passing down Rousseau? And they did get busy on the offensive line in free agency, signing Lindsley as well as Matt Filer. So that takes that off the board. Also, I mean, the top 3 offensive linemen are off the board. What are you going to do? Take AVT here or Cosme or Radens, whatever? No. Next up. 14. So, the Vikings. They did it. So the Vikings traded down with Washington, moved down 5 spots. Washington comes all the way up. No Pants or Trey Lance is sitting there chilling. Now, this could come back to haunt the Vikings. Like if Trey Lance blows up and if whoever they pick later on in the first round is a dud, this is going to be the Johnny Flynn, Ricky Rubio ahead of Steph Curry pick. Like this is just going to be an error that just sticks with the Vikings forever. It's like, you had a guy that was from Marshall, Minnesota and played at NDSU and he becomes one of the best quarterbacks in the game and you passed on him. But moving back 5 spots, I want at least a second round pick, probably a little bit more, especially since Washington is making the ass. I think the Vikings could cloud their eyes out and get some really good draft capital in return. But it would be tough. It would be tough. Vikings sitting at 14. They got Trey Lance on board. They got J.C. Horn on board. They got Kwity Paye. They got AVT. They got Joke on board. I might just take Trey Lance. I would. 15. So the Patriots pick up Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I think if Trey Lance got there, I think they would have taken him. It's kind of surprising that they pass on Mac Jones, but is what it is. But Joke is a coverage do-it-all. Hard-hitting linebacker would fit in nicely with the Belichick defense. 16. Cardinals replacing Patrick Peterson. J.C. Horn got length for days. Now, it's interesting that J.C. Horn goes above Caleb Farley, where I like Horn. I love Caleb Farley, man. 17. Really good accounting. So even though the Raiders signed Yannick Ngakoue, they still get Azeez Ujulari here in the draft. So you have 2 undersized, speedy edge rushers in Azeez and Yannick, and plus you have more traditional guy in Max Crosby there, and maybe they get something out of number 4 overall pick, Clelin Ferrell, finally. But Raiders can actually get after the passer for a change, which is nice. 18. So the Dolphins, they took Jalen Waddle at 3 overall and then get some defensive help. Brian Flores is going to love Kwity Paye, man. Like, absolute physical freak. And the thing that the Dolphins were missing last year was that consistent edge presence. Kwity Paye will bring that. Also interesting that passed on Rousseau. So now, Vikings traded down from 14 to 19. What do? So AVT, where if the Vikings are able to trade down and secure some extra draft capital, probably at least a second round pick, I am okay. I'm certainly okay with AVT at 19. He's a stud, even though you missed out on Darisaw and Slater, and you missed out on Kwity Paye, and you passed on Trey Lance. Yeah, Elijah Vera-Tucker, day one slots in as your starting left guard, and you're going to be good to go there. And I understand it's not that sexy taking interior offensive lineman, but Elijah Vera-Tucker is an extremely good player. I have my doubts about taking him at 14, but man, if you can get him at 19 and get draft capital, I'm in. You son of a B, I'm in. That means that Ezra Cleveland is going to slot in as your starting left tackle. 20. So the Bears taking Mac Jones because Andy Dalton ain't it. 21. So the Colts taking Rashad Bateman in this spot. I like him matched up on the outside with Michael Pittman Jr., second-round pick last year, as well as Paris Campbell coming back from injury. That's a nice trio for Carson Wentz. But that left tackle spot, still wide open. Maybe they address it in the second round or third round, whatever. Maybe they get Radens at the top of the second, or they maneuver, get Sam Cosmi, etc. So Bateman, welcome to Indianapolis. 22. So Caleb Farley's draft day slide stops with Tennessee, which makes sense since edge rusher was a need for Tennessee, but they signed Bud Dupree, and then they got rid of Adoree Jackson as well as Malcolm Butler. So bringing in Caleb Farley, matching him up with Christian Fulton, nice little cornerback duo. 23, so Robert Saleh, even though they spent their first round pick on Justin Fields on the offensive side of the ball, now Robert Saleh has got to get his guys. Greg Newsome, cornerback 1 for that new Jets defense. I like it. 24. So this is a very Steelers pick. Liam Eichenberg coming out of Notre Dame. You plop his ass in at left tackle, replacing Villanueva. And Eichenberg just seems like a Steelers offensive lineman. He does, like rock solid meat and potatoes guy. I like it. 25. So the Jaguars, they franchise tag Cam Robinson, the left tackle, which, whatever. And maybe they're giving up on Jawan Taylor, new regime in Jacksonville. But I mean, maybe they kick Taylor inside to guard, which might work out better. But Jenkins is going to slot in at that right tackle spot. Maybe he swings over to left tackle after Cam Robinson's franchise tag expires. I don't see them extending him long term unless he really steps it up this year. But Jenkins, I do like a lot as a mauler, protecting Trevor Lawrence no matter what, 26. So the Browns do have a need at edge. They had a need at safety, so this could have been Morig, except they signed Johnny Johnson, big-time money in free agency, so him and Delpit got that thing under control. They signed Tack McKinley, but yeah, you want something more opposite of Garrett. And if Jason Noe pans out on, I don't know, like 70% of his physical potential, my goodness, man. 27. So maybe the Ravens should go edge rusher here, except Aziz off the board, Awaz off the board. Rousseau would make a lot of sense here. I think him on that Ravens front seven would make a ton of sense, but wide receiver is still a need since no one is signing with the Ravens. No one. But Terrace Marshall Jr., big-bodied outside the numbers guy, would be perfect for Lamar Jackson. 28. This sucks. Actually, these next two picks both suck because I love Zaven Collins, I love Kadarius Toney, and they land with the Saints and the Packers respectively. No, God, please, no. 30. So the Bills losing Josh Norman or letting him walk. Eric Stokes, pro day wonder, coming on into that Bills defense with Leslie Frazier and McDermott. I like it. 31. So the Chiefs, they punted on Fisher, they punted on Schwartz, their two starting tackles. They brought back Mike Remmers for some reason, and then they threw all the money at Jumpin' Joe Thuney and then some at Kyle Long as well. But Jalen Mayfield is going to step on in, and you do really like him as a redshirt sophomore coming out of Michigan. Going to be your right tackle day one. He does have the physical tools, and maybe he slides over to the blind side and protects Patrick Mahomes' ass for the next decade plus. Down the line eventually. Hell. And then lastly, the Bucs at 32 getting Christian Barmore, where even though they re-signed Sue, it's only on a one-year deal, and Golson isn't getting younger either. So Barmore can sit behind him and be a rotational guy, and the rich get richer. You just, it's rough to see. Anyways, dude's still on board. So Kyle Trask didn't make it, even though the top four quarterbacks went in the top 14, and then Mac Jones went at 20. Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, no running backs in the first round. It was like, what is this, a PFF mock draft? And then wide receivers, Rondell Moore, Elijah Moore didn't quite make it. Freiermuth, no. Offensive line, a lot of good dudes left. You look at Leatherwood, Cosme, Raduns, who isn't listed, Dickerson, Wyatt Davis, no matter what. Defensive line, Rousseau didn't make it. Where, I've expressed my reservations about Rousseau, except I think he definitely is a first-round talent. Boogie Basham, no. Asai, no. Ronnie Perkins, no. Joe Tryon, no. Nick Bolton, no, in terms of linebackers. Also, Nwuzurike, Davion Nixon, no go. Dylan Moses, Asante Samuel, Tyson Campbell, Elijah Molden, nope. As well as no safeties in the first round. Trevor Morig and Javon Holland just sitting there chilling. But, like we talked about, I think, man, this could come back to haunt the Vikings, where if Trey Lance makes it to 14, just take him. Just take him. I understand that the Vikings have needs on the offensive line, and maybe you do have to force a pick, but you can suture things up in free agency before the draft or even after the draft. Take care of things, as well as all those mid-round picks, hammer the offensive line, do it. But Trey Lance has a chance to be a special player, and if he pans out in Washington, becomes a Pro Bowl type quarterback, it's going to be sore. It's going to be sore. But AVT, like I said, if you trade down and get him and get some trade value, yes, absolutely go get it. And if you come out of the first round with a starting caliber left guard on that very young offensive line, go ahead. Go do it. But your thoughts, latest CBS mock draft, Vikings trade down, let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support that work, post something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.